Welcome to Fake Love and Flying Monkeys, the podcast where fake love is exposed. I'm Nova Gibson and I am your host. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling.com.au. This space is dedicated to helping you reclaim your worth and understand the impact of toxic relationships with suspected narcissists. You deserve clarity, healing, and freedom from the pain of fake love and flying monkeys. So please leave a review and grab a copy of my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. Let's uncover the truth and take back your power. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. I was recently interviewed for an article that appeared a couple of days ago in Mamamia, which is Australia's largest women's media brand, around the occasion theory relating to narcissists and how they ruin any special time in your life. They love to ruin special events. So in this episode, I thought I'd expand on that a little further and talk about why the narcissist picks a fight right before you leave for a party and what that really means. Now, if you haven't read that article in Mamamia, guys, go and check it out. Very, very relatable and very, very interesting. So let's talk about it. If you ever found yourself, and I'm sure many of you have if you've been regularly listening to this podcast, if you've found yourself excitedly getting ready for a party, an event, or even just a simple dinner with friends, only to end up in an unexpected, really confusing, emotionally draining argument with your narcissistic partner, your narcissistic friend or family member, just minutes before you walk out the door. Well, if this has happened more than once, and if that partner is a narcissist, you are not alone. In fact, to be honest, this specific scenario is probably one of the most common patterns that I hear about from my beautiful clients who come to see me in their narcissistic abuse recovery. By the way, guys, if you'd like to have a one-on-one Zoom counseling session with me, no matter where you are in the world, please just see my website link in the description. But think back. Remember those tears in the Uber, the cab, your mascara running down your face in the bathroom, the fake smiles when you finally arrive at that party. These are not isolated incidents. They are, in fact, calculated. They're cruel and they're deeply telling. So why does a narcissist do this? Well, let's take a look at the psychology behind it, and more importantly, how to protect yourself in the future so that you can go and have a wonderful night out without it being sabotaged by a person that is so hell-bent on destroying any joy in your life. Well, here's a few reasons. Number one, this pattern of conflict before joy. This is how it often plays out. You're dressed, feeling confident, you're looking forward to a rare moment of connection, celebration, and the narcissist just picks this fight out of nowhere. You either cancel your plans, you go to that event absolutely emotionally wrecked, or you end up apologizing for something you didn't do just so you can walk in that event and not have a scene ensue. Well, the reality is that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted a scene, and if they couldn't get a scene, they were going to make damn sure that you did not have a good time. Another one is the jealousy, that pathological envy of your joy. A narcissist views your happiness as a threat. If you're feeling good, radiant, independent, it reminds them of their own miserable life. It reminds them that they do not control you in that moment. And that terrifies them. Joy, confidence, social connection, they're all forms of emotional nourishment for you. And when you glow, they shrink. They fear that you will get attention that they're not a part of. Remember, in this relationship, they need all the attention. Everything has to revolve around them. They fear that whatever happens when you're having a good time, that you will be reminded of who you are without them. They fear that you will realize that your life is actually better without all of their drama and chaos. And of course, there's that need for control. Narcissists crave power and control, specifically power and control over you and your emotions. They seek control like oxygen. If you're leaving the house, especially if you're all dressed up and surrounded by others, then they're not in control of the narrative. Picking a fight is their way of pulling you back into their orbit, into their drama. It's a form of emotional handcuffing, putting those chains on you so that they control any moment of happiness in your life. It's about reasserting their dominance in a subtle but really powerful way. And then there's their fear of exposure. Narcissists live in constant fear of being unmasked. The thought of you in a room full of people talking, connecting, maybe even sharing truths, that triggers panic in them. Even if you have no intention of talking about them, and you usually don't, it's such a rare moment that you're just looking forward to seeing other people and having a nice time. But they're scared that you'll reveal what they've done. Someone might see through their act and they will lose their grip on your loyalty. The next one is really hard to hear, and that is that they sabotage as a form of weirdly self-soothing themselves. They will often feel soothed, not often, regularly feel soothed by your distress, your pain. It reassures them that they're still important enough to affect you deeply. If you're crying, they feel powerful. Ruining your evening allows them to discharge their own insecurities and fears. It's this perverse form of emotional regulation. You cry, they feel better. Okay, let's look at some of the tactics they use. Let's look at that trusty little chestnut, the old dog whistle. Now, if you haven't yet, I did an entire episode on the dog whistle a while ago, guys, so look for that one. But the dog whistle is a gaslighting strategy they use. Now, we've all heard of dog whistles used in dog training where no one can hear the whistle. It's inaudible to human beings, and it's used to train dogs. So the dog whistle is about baiting you into reacting in front of other people so that you get upset, you react, and no one else understands why you're reacting because they were not there when the narcissist was conditioning you to react to exactly what they're saying, or, as I said earlier, provoking you right before you got out of that cab. I also talk a lot about the dog whistle, such a textbook narcissistic strategy to manipulate you. In my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, you'll find a link to it in the description, guys. But they love to do this before you go out. They will, for instance, while you're in the cab, tell you that everyone hates you at that party, or that you look fat in the dress that you're wearing. And of course, you're seconds away from walking into a room full of people and you are upset. The narcissist will then go into the party and have the time of their life. They will try and get you drinks, a chair, dance with you, and no one will understand why you're glaring at the narcissist. All anyone else sees is the narcissist being kind to you, even though you're glaring at them and you don't want to talk to them. And they end up thinking that you're the problem and that you are just this ungrateful bore who doesn't realize what an amazing partner they have. If you're going out on your own, they will just subtly provoke you before you walk out the door by comments such as, "Oh, are you really wearing that?" Or "Who's going to be there?" Or, "Well, don't you be too flirty tonight?" And of course, there would have been behaviors leading up to that comment suggesting that they don't trust you. And these comments do destabilize you without appearing obviously abusive. They plant these seeds of self-doubt. They want you to be self-conscious, so you are not laughing and having an amazing time. You're thinking about what they said before you left. This next one they love to do, whether you are going out on your own or whether they are going with you. And you, of course, are excited by the event and they come home late. And you are just tapping your foot. You have been reminding them about this special event for ages. And if you say anything, it's lose-lose, because they will remind you that they were working and they had no control over the situation. And of course, that you're being irrational because it's not that big a deal, even though they know fully well that it is a big deal for you. And then there's the fake emergencies. They will suddenly get sick. They'll have some major health issue. They'll remember something terribly urgent, or they'll claim to have a bad feeling. These fake emergencies, once again, are lose-lose for you, especially if they're sick, because if you say to them, "Well, there's the doctor's number, there's some Panadol in the drawer," because you can obviously see that it's not life-threatening, and you go, they will sulk. They will make you feel so bad. And from previous experience, because of the ongoing nature of the narcissistic abuse, coercive control, if you go, that you will be subjected to the silent treatment for weeks, etc., and reminded of how you chose yourself selfishly and your friends, etc., over them when they were just lying on their deathbed. And of course, if you don't go and you stay beside them, putting the thermometer in their mouth and treating them like a baby, they won't be one bit grateful. And if you ever dare to bring it up in the future, they will say to you, "Well, you could have gone. I didn't tell you not to go." But once again, full well the punishment that would have ensued if you had have gone to that special event. This is the nature, once again, of coercive control, because you end up saying no to those people. And the narcissist gets to say to you that they didn't make the decision for you. You did that all yourself. And if they're not picking a fight, they may just emotionally withdraw before you go out. They want you to have a miserable time thinking about them and what's wrong with them. They may sulk or just go silent as you get ready turning the energy cold and so confusing. This obviously is going to make you feel guilty or anxious, like you've done something wrong. And then there's the accusations just before you leave with something absolutely out of left field, something ridiculous that you have no idea about why they would be thinking this. Just before you leave, they'll say something like, "You're abandoning me," or "You just want to go there to flirt," or "I bet you'll be texting your ex." And guys, these fights are manufactured. They will pick a completely irrelevant topic sometimes, escalate it rapidly, and then turn it into this emotional war zone. 10 minutes before you're due to go and you're adjusting your earrings, putting your lippy on, and now you're questioning your sanity. So there's just a few examples, guys, of how they spoil your joy right before you go to an event. But why does it work so well? Well, let's take a look at the aftermath. Well, you go to that event and you arrive disarmed. You're walking into that room, and instead of feeling empowered and connected to yourself, you're anxious, you're upset, you're preoccupied. You smile, but your energy is somewhere else. You're physically there, but emotionally you're not there. You're still in that fight, trying to work out what on earth they were talking about and whether you're doing the right thing by being at this special event and what you're going to face when you get home. As I said earlier, you may just cancel. It just all seems too much. Sometimes they win outright in this respect, and you call your friends, make an excuse, stay home and try to work it out, wondering how you can make peace with this person when you don't even know what you did. This is exactly what they wanted. Or maybe part of the aftermath is that you overshare. You show up rattled and you overshare with the wrong people, maybe even mutual friends, giving the narcissist ammunition for their next smear campaign or for their next argument. They will say to you, "Oh, such and such told me that you said this about me. Don't you ever tell me that I'm the abusive one in this relationship when you talk about me behind my back. And by the way, this is why I can't trust you when you go out by yourself." You also become conditioned to pair together anything joyful in the future with dread. You begin to perhaps sabotage yourself, special events coming up, because subconsciously you know how they will end. You begin to dread joyful events. Over time, your nervous system starts to associate any social or special event with emotional punishment. So you may just stop making plans. You'll tone yourself down. You'll preemptively cancel things just to avoid the drama. This is the conditioning, guys, and this is coercive control. This is abuse. But here's the thing with these strategies that are used to control you through that coercive control. They seem so subtle. They're not obvious. That's the thing. Narcissistic abuse rarely starts as obvious cruelty, but this type of behavior, believe me, guys, it is cruelty 101. It begins with patterns that are so subtle. Even you question if it's just bad timing, but it's not random. Once you step back, you will realize that it happens all the time. It happens before every event where you may shine. It happens when you are around people who love you. It happens when you're getting attention that they can't control. And if you've already left, it may still happen. You may still get triggering texts or sudden drama right before a big event that they know about. Even post-discard, narcissists will message you just before your birthday. They'll cause issues right before a court date or custody milestones. They will try to ruin your holidays or reunions. And why do they do this? Well, because they still want to control your emotions. They cannot stand you moving on, especially not moving on with joy. So guys, block them, please. Silence their notifications. Grey rock if you share children. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because in many ways, your emotional life does. I want you to go from the sabotage to the sovereign. Narcissists pick fights right before parties because they need to control you, and your joy threatens that control. They want to shrink you, isolate you. They want you to be all on your own, and if you're not on your own, with them under their control. They want you to question your right to exist confidently in this world. Don't let them win. Your light was never too bright. It was just too bright for them. It was too bright for someone who couldn't stand to see you or your light shining on its own. So you go to that party. You own the room. You reclaim your narrative. And the next time you feel that familiar argument rising right before an event, I want you to smile to yourself and say, this script again. Not today, Satan, not today. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. Yes, if you haven't seen that article, guys, I will put a link to the article around the occasion theory that narcissists use that I was interviewed for in Mamamia, Australia's largest media platform for women. You will find a link to that article in the description, where you will also find a link to order your copy of my best-selling book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, in either audio, Kindle, and paperback. Now, if you would like to support the channel, guys, we need all the help we can get to help spread awareness. So share. Sharing is caring, and let's help to spread awareness about narcissistic abuse. And please leave a rating and a review. You have no idea how much that helps the channel, but it also helps with that nasty old algorithm. Now, on that note, guys, it's bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, remember, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.